too much anyway.
Right.
Great to be back.
Yes. Oh, yeah. You are. You are. Yeah. You're a second timer.
Yes,
Apart from,
it's not often we get invited back places.
Right.
well, not with Mark's reputation of setting fire to stuff.
No,
I didn't set the fire.
I mean, that's only the rumor that's going round. So, right, let's do the business. I completely forget. So there we go. And I did something stupid. I've got YouTube running in the background, and it's now started playing the video. What an idiot face!
It's almost like when you kick a conference off.
Just shut it.
Oh, meow! What's going on? All right.
When you kick a conference off, and you have one job at the start of the conference, that's your job for the day. That's all you have to do is press a button. And what did you forget to do there, Mark?
Did he forget to press?
He forgot to press record. Yeah,
I might have forgotten to press a button.
So we've got Anthony back. Do you want to wave so people know which one is Anthony if they don't know you? We've got Andrew, and we've got Mark. I haven't spoken to you before, so the others can go away. So how are you, Mark?
I'm doing good.
So why are they bullying you?
That's just what they do. It's a very abusive relationship, organizing EightKB.
So you organised the rumour is a very successful conference the other day. How did it go? Have you got stats and numbers? Can you share?
I think, Mark, you've got those numbers.
Oh boy, putting me right on the spot. I do. I have to find them real quick.
He had one job, didn't he?
see what I'm talking about? No, we. I think the collective word that describes how we're feeling about the event is chuffed. We didn't expect it to be as big, get as much attention as it did, and it went absolutely swimmingly on the day as well. All the speakers did absolutely fantastically. The moderators were on their jobs like there was no tomorrow. Loads of engagement from the community in Slack and in the chat in Zoom. Yeah, we couldn't be more pleased, to be honest.
Because the one thing that was different about yours from the other events that were sort of going on at the time is the other events were quite big, multi-channel, multi-room, should we say, virtual room, multi-track, many sessions, and then you went for something very, very different. Yeah,
I think it started off with us playing it safe, to be honest, because we didn't think it was going to get quite as big as it did. So we wanted to keep it small, keep it simple, and just let the speakers focus on delivering good content instead of having everyone three of us. And so, yeah, I mean, Day 2 Weekender went with a massive conference, and others have done the same. But yeah, we wanted just to concentrate on 5 amazing sessions, and we could give the speakers leeway then as well to say, hey, you can deliver this session. It can be as long as you want. We'll give you a time slot. Go for it. And so I think the speakers appreciated that. From the feedback we've got as well from the attendees, they all appreciate it because the speakers go a little bit further into their sessions.
Oh. Yeah.
So I've got the numbers here. So total registrations, we had 2,352 register. Oddly enough, we had people continue to register after the event was over.
Oh, people are idiots, aren't they? Sorry.
No, all of our registrants are amazing people. At our peak, we had 1,086 attendees. This stats are a little bit old, but I think the main 7-hour event on YouTube has had over 3,000 views now. When we were taking session submissions, we got 77, and as you said, yeah, just a single track and 5 sessions.
So that 3,000 views is in less than a week. And if I remember correctly, we had 2,000 the day after as well.
We had 2,500 the day, as of the day after.
I did go on, and I did wonder what what Russian bots you were paying to get the numbers up.
One of the cooler stats that we saw in all of this is we got a report that showed us the engagement over time. So basically, or the numbers over time. So there was like very little decay. We hit 1,000 people at the start and pretty much finished with about that at the end. There was a little bit of tail off. I forget the exact numbers, but less than 10%. So people came and stayed, which I thought was really, really cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Did you notice people coming for particular sessions, a bit of churn, and then they would leave, and then new people would come in because they were just coming in for a particular session?
So
Certainly,
I looked at the report and noticed that. So the number of people that actually showed up for the Zoom call was 801, I think it was. But we typically only had like 400 or 500 on at a time. So people were definitely kind of coming in and leaving, and
I mean, we really peaked.
And combining. Oh, sorry.
Oh, you're right, mate. You go.
Oh, and and then just combining that value with what was being viewed on YouTube at the same time. So that's where we would remember.
So what have you learned from doing it?
That Andrew's always right.
that's actually true.
Meow.
Oh yeah. So I'll give you a couple. Not specifics, but pretty much. Pretty much. So you talked about the conference design. That's one of the things I wanted to comment on a second ago. Is the session submissions were banging. Like every single session was world class, right? And I'm like, let's add more sessions. And Andrew's like, let's not add more sessions. And we talk about why. And he's like, people's brains are going to be melted. It's going to be a 12-hour day. It's going to be 9 p.m. in Europe. And I was like, oh yeah. And so he kind of has that brain to kind of think through all those things. And Mark and I are like, let's do it. And he's kind of the more practical person in the Slack channel, keeping us under control.
Paints me as not in a great light, actually.
No, that's
no. I'm saying you're the responsible one that's thinking things through.
If Anthony and I had our say on everything that happened, I think we would have bit off more than we could chew.
Well,
that's a good thing. Fantastic.
It also gave you a USP, which is you were different to other events. So why be the same as them all?
Yeah.
So,
as I said earlier, I really like the fact that because we had just 5 events, it is a long old day if you stay for the whole thing. It's 7 and a bit hours, but it gave us the ability to say to the speakers, you can deliver you can talk as long as we'd probably cap you at 90 minutes because these guys are experts in their field, so they could talk all day. I think Argenis said that at the start of his session. It's like, are you going to cap it here, or can I keep talking? It's like, we're probably going to cap you at 75 minutes if you don't mind. It's now 9:15. We've got to take questions as well. But it allowed them to, give that deeper content, and that's exactly what we wanted. So we marketed it as a mind-melty event, and that's exactly what we got. I think we got that right from the start. I think the quote halfway through Bob Ward's session was, I got this from the source code. It's like, yes.
When Bob Ward's involved and he says, open the debugger, you're going to struggle to keep up.
Yeah. The best thing about that was I think he was just winding Argenis up, because Argenis was going, right, I'm doing the debugger as well then.
So how do you think then there's actually a need or a demand for a 2-hour session where people can go even further, or a 2.5 hour with toilet bio breaks?
We're getting into pre-con territory there then, really, aren't we? It's a weird time, really, because most people when they develop sessions will go, I think 75 minutes, maybe 90 minutes, but a 2-hour session. I've done a 2-hour session before, but that's me jamming 2 sessions of mine together and making a 2-hour session. So maybe that's an option, actually. I'm pretty sure both of the chaps on the call here could bang out a 2-hour session as well. So yeah, it all depends. It all depends on the sessions that we get submitted, and it'd be really hard to give a speaker 2 hours in a day conference because we want to get other people in as well. Yeah. So
I think the 75 minutes worked really well. I feel like a lot of the presentations felt complete at the end, and not like we needed a whole lot more. I know Argenis didn't get to do one of his demos, which was a demo I really wanted to see, but but I feel like for the most part, the talks really felt like they were done.
Do you think that's because when you submit for pass, they have the option for the 75-minute, the 1 hour and 75-minute, and I think they do. Do they do an hour and a half session?
I'm not sure. I know that
they have 75. There's a 3-hour block, and then obviously pre-con. And so I don't know. I don't remember if they did 3-hour blocks last year, but I know historically they have.
All right, let's get to the elephant in the room. Why did you use Zoom? Come on. Let's get it out of the way before people are out there going, why do they? Aren't they MVP? Yeah, they're MVPs. Why are they doing? I don't know.
We'll let the responsible one answer
the political answer.
So we evaluated quite a lot of different technologies to use. We had a look at GoToMeeting. We had a look at Teams. We had a look at Zoom. There's another one as well. There's an open source one which I can't remember the name of. Jitsi. And the one that gave us all the features that was the lowest cost, because we don't have any sponsors, so we're all paying for this out of pocket, apart from Teams, which would be free. But Zoom had all the features we wanted for a decent price point. And so, yeah, we went with them. Teams is good. We're on Teams now. It's working perfectly. But Zoom has things like stream to YouTube, Q&A that's easy to work with and manage. I think Teams has got Q&A, but I haven't used it. But it just, I think Mark said to before we went on, it just ticked all those boxes for us. So it's like, yes, thank you. So that's why we went with it.
Yeah, the live thing to YouTube, that's interesting. So that answers one of the questions that I had, because when I went over to the YouTube channel, I saw this big 8-hour arse-long video up there. I thought, what? They don't have the decency.
What's great about that as well is you always get questions of when are the recordings going to be up, Yeah. You go, as soon as the conference finished, there you go, the recording is up. Okay, we're going to do some editing, and Anthony spent a couple of days, 3 days,
cursing
at Camtasia, trying to edit the videos and split them out. But we had something up there immediately. So when people are like, "Oh, I missed a session," it was like, "Oh yeah, go in.
Yeah.
It's there. Go for it."
Yeah, and you can just deliver Sorry.
I was just saying, I think that's super important for maintaining kind of the momentum of it too, because people could go right away and check it out. Or some people were saying too that they had to cut out early because they had work or whatever, and they could come back on the YouTube channel and just kind of pick up where they left off or rewatch a session or something. And it seems like a lot of people did that because the views were really high.
Yeah, and with that depth of content, that's invaluable, because there's like, you can watch it and absorb only so much, but then having the capacity to go and like revisit it and experiment with the demos, and that, I think that having access to that immediately or nearly immediately is a pretty awesome thing to have.
All right.
Yeah, I think we also got a lot of comments of people sort of watching the videos going, "Wait, what did they just do? All right, I have to go back and watch that. How do I?"
Yeah, I guess that's the disadvantage of being there in person. When Bob Ward does something and you're going, what? Where?
Well, like Erin Slatter ripping through demos as well. We asked the speakers if they could just make it really demo heavy, and Erin was just like, I think she did about 10 minutes of slides, and the rest was just these amazing demos that were super deep content. So I think I lost myself at one point as well. So I've gone back and watched it and gone, oh yeah, again.
So, I mean, you chose the best platform for it, which is. Oh, did you find there were any scaling issues that the teams wouldn't have scaled to the kind of size you wanted, or was it purely
so the
just
raw numbers for a regular Teams meeting? Like the style is 250, so we would have capped out on that. Yeah. And then Teams Live goes to 10,000. I think there was something that it was missing, either chat or Q&A. One of those two features wasn't part of that. And so what we did learn we'll probably not have chat. We're going to leave that in Slack so that everyone can kind of interact in Slack. Which is interesting because you have having multiple platforms, but I feel like the SQL community is already plugged in to the SQL community Slack and having that be the central location for that. And that conversation can continue after the webinar's over. And so having that continue to go and build a community around that, I think is really valuable.
Okay.
Another interesting thing that happened with all the multiple communications channels that we had is that we had people that were on the Zoom call that were also in Slack, and people in Slack were asking questions, and then those people were passing it over to the over to Zoom. So we had a lot going on, a lot of channels, but it was all kind of connected through people just copying and pasting questions and stuff, which was kind of neat.
So that was definitely a lesson learned. We won't have chat in the webinar platform, but again, continue to live in Slack so that it can live outside of the context of the webinar itself. And just in the Q&A feature, I think is what's really was kind of a killer feature of Zoom, so that because people could ask questions and then they're processed by the moderator or the speaker in a very easily graphical way for them to surface the questions pretty easily.
Yeah.
So what would you do differently? I mean, add more time at the beginning, more people, more moderators. How would you structure it?
I'm struggling there.
Really? It was perfect.
I would do a lot.
Oh no, it's so good.
No, it wasn't perfect. It wasn't perfect, and I think that worked for us because there was a lot of time in between sessions where we were essentially doing a live tech check to make sure stuff was working and everything, and making sure everybody was up and running. Which I'm sure there's other platforms where we could kind of hide that, but I think people really enjoyed that part.
I think the in-between sessions where all the speakers were talking to each other and the moderators were on as well was one of the highlights of the event. I'm torn between making those slots a little bit longer. I think 15 minutes is pretty good. There were a couple of sessions where we had to cut people off to get into the next session, but I think if we went any longer, it just extends the event and makes it a longer day. So,
I think there was specific feedback from attendees that were said, like, we really liked seeing everyone chat between the sessions, just, the speakers, moderators, and us as the organizers. And that's the hallway conversation, right? That you would expect in a real event. And obviously Slack, I think, helped facilitate that for the people that were attending.
I'd like to get more people into the Slack. Definitely do that. The chat feature in Zoom, it's good. The problem is, the main thing is I've done this as an attendee. I've dropped a question into the chat instead of the Q&A panel because you've got the chat in front of you, and you can see all the panelists in there. So it's like, well, I'll ask a question here. And because so many people are in the chat, you can't monitor it for all the questions because it just zooms past you. So maybe getting rid of the chat thing and directing people to the Slack channel. I mean, that's swings and roundabouts there because maybe some people don't want to sign up for Slack and another channel, but I think that's the best way to go. I really enjoyed what was happening in the Slack channel when the event was on. Everyone was chatting and asking questions to each other and just commenting on the videos. Or then, as Anthony was saying, like passing on Mark was saying, sorry, passing on questions. I was like, I'm on YouTube because I can't join the Zoom at the moment. Can you ask this question, please? And it was being relayed back.
So how did you have any kind of worries about the volume of people? Because the last time you guys were on, you weren't at 1,000. You were like 800 and something, I think.
The volume of registrations was a concern at one point. It's why we went with Zoom to live stream, because Zoom had a cap of 1,000, and after 1,000 with Zoom, it starts to get expensive, as in pretty expensive. So that's why we did the live stream thing. I mean, we did hit the 1,000 cap, but it was knocked between the two, so YouTube and Zoom. So at one point it was sort of like, oh, they're still registering. But we're on 2,200. It was like, well, if we get a 50% dropout, that's still over the 1,000 mark.
So we also. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you crack on, Mark.
We also we use MailChimp to handle registration and like email updates and everything. And the free tier for MailChimp caps out at 2,000. So that was another thing. I'm like watching the numbers going up. This was after Brent Ozar put us in his email newsletter, and like it's slowly going up, and then it just started going up more and more and more, and then our like account got paused. I had to pay for an upgrade so that we could keep going, but it was yeah.
Yeah,
we weren't expecting these numbers at all. We thought everything that we had picked technology wise was well within the limits of what we'd be using.
So with that in hindsight, do you think you would go for some sort of sponsorship? So you could go for the bigger tiers, you wouldn't have to fork out of your own pocket.
It depends.
Oh, look, there's some sad faces.
Yeah. Well, no. So he says it depends. We've had a lot of conversations about this, and I think we've almost always landed on no. But
all right, we can skip that.
On who the sponsors are and what they want. One of the things that was commented on a lot in the feedback that we got from the event was it was a load of people saying it was really nice not to have to sit through a load of sponsorship slides every time. So we kind of we're kind of aware of that. So yeah, I mean, sponsorship would be nice because we are all paying for this out of pocket ourselves, but we don't want to kind of lose that. We don't want to have to put up a sponsor slide during every break and have to have people staring at. I mean, what I really liked was not having to deal with any of that. And the one thing I really don't want to do is give sponsor slides to speakers and say, "Oh, would you mind thanking the sponsors at the start?" Because that was another thing we did as well. Is that whatever template you want to use, whatever slides you want to use, you can use them. You go ahead. You don't have to do anything. Just bring your session. Go for it.
Well, I mean, the reason why I'm asking is because, right, that's now gone. You can't sit on your laurels. What's next? Now, don't tell me you haven't thought about it, because you have been.
No.
Clearly.
Right.
We can make an announcement today.
You can make an announcement?
Yeah. So I'm sure that anybody that's been following the Twitter account saw a short video clip posted about something new called Mixed Accents. So that is it's a new, I don't know what to call it. I kind of want to call it an event, but it's going to be a little more than that. So we're going to try to do it on a regular basis, probably monthly to begin with, but it's going to be like a panel discussion type format where we'll get down a few people that have got some expertise in a specific topic, and they will kind of go at it and talk about it from different angles. So our first one is coming up July 28th. That'll be Argenis Fernandez and Mike Val talking about the snapshots versus backups debate. So that's our announcement, I guess, is that that's going to be coming up soon. And,
cool.
We're going to keep trying to do those.
So yeah, that's our announcement. That is the announcement, Mark. Yeah. Absolutely. And I mean, we've got two experts in the industry, and the idea with Mixed Sense is to get two subject matter experts and us three idiots, and ask them questions and let them debate. Basically, just have a chat. Basically in the same format as the in-between bits of 8KB. I remember Mark pinged me, both of us, during one of the in-between sessions where all the speakers jumped on and were talking with Argenis about, was it about the cheese puffs, if I remember correctly? They were all arguing about that. It's pretty much that, where they were all in and all chatting away and basically debating stuff. Okay, it wasn't technology, it was what was the best type of cheese puff.
Snack food.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the kind of format we want to go for it, really.
So is it going to be active Q&A? So is it purely like a show for people to watch? Or are you going to take questions from the audience while you're doing it?
Over to you, Mark.
All right. So we're gonna do a live stream on YouTube, just like we did for EightKB. And I'm thinking, for this first one, we'll try it out and try to get some audience questions in, see how that works. If that doesn't work, we'll stop doing it. If it works great, we'll keep doing it. But yeah, so we'll be live streaming to YouTube, and then after the event is done, we'll do a little bit of light editing and post kind of a final cut on YouTube.
Okay, so that's all going to stay on YouTube. So really just pushing the YouTube bit of it. So it's going to be 5 people to you.
The first one. Yeah,
and all being done in Zoom, pushing then streaming up to YouTube.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Sounds quite interesting. And it's basically just like you just getting 2 people to verbally box, and to
pretty much. Yeah. It was actually funny in the group message where I was setting this up with Argenis and Mike. They started talking trash while we're trying to get it set up. So our first episode here should be pretty good.
Yeah, we are literally on the call to introduce, ask the first question, and then just let them go, and we'll moderate and see what questions are coming in, maybe interject. But yeah, the idea is to give experts in the community a platform to discuss maybe a contentious topic or just debate a topic.
All right. So your first one's going to be essentially storage, backups versus snapshots. Mm-hmm. And we know the winner, don't we? Because clearly it's snapshots. So, I mean, you almost don't even need to have it.
Well, I think
take that one, Andrew?
For that one specific, right? I mean, technology's changed.
What was that?
Right?
What was that?
And I think as data professionals, us to continue to evaluate what's changing, right? And so having this conversation out in public, people can see what the current state is and make that decision for themselves and what's appropriate for their environment, right?
You can take my native backups out of my cold, dead hands.
Yes. Yes, there's that.
I work on a product that doesn't have backups, only has snapshots. So, are they really needed?
This is why this is a good topic.
Yeah. But I don't know enough about how it works under the covers and stuff. So having someone who's got that technicals, you can say, well, actually, the IOPS are more efficient in snapshots than they are in backups. But or maybe with this particular Hoffman compression, it's much better. I don't know. Yeah, I know enough to pretend I'm trying to sound clever, but actually make no sense at all.
Join the club.
So you've got storage planned, and then what were you thinking for the next ones? Because can there be that many contentious issues?
Well, there's loads of contentious issues with SQL Server. I mean, you could pick one off the top of your head. All right, indexing. Should I be rebuilding my indexes? Do I need to rebuild my indexes? Boom, go. And you can get a load of people weighing in on that subject. From people who say, no, it's on. The storage is so fast these days, I don't need to bother doing it anymore. Don't worry about internal fragmentation. Disks are big these days. Storage is cheap. Come on, let's go for it. And then there'll be someone turning around going, what are you talking about? So, yeah, there's loads of stuff like that.
Yeah, even simple stuff like tempdb config. It can be really contentious because people have got these rules that they've been following for the past, 15 years on how they do it. And when you tell them how you do it, they're like, what? What are you talking about? So, yeah, I mean, we can probably pick almost anything related to SQL Server configuration and find many people that disagree.
Or you can just throw statements out there. Replication is a viable disaster recovery tool. Go.
Well, I think that's a perfectly cromulent statement. More contentious things like you don't need anything on-prem anymore. Everything should be in the cloud.
Yeah, I mean, you could even go high. We're internals conference, so maybe not go high level, but stuff like, the DBA job is there. DBA job is dead. It's all cloud administrated now. Stuff like that.
And honestly, that might be something that we do eventually. I mean, we want to focus on internal stuff, just like the conference. But I mean, if we run out of internals material, there's plenty of contentious material in the database world outside of internals that people would love to talk about.
Well, we did have 77 sessions, so if we can continue to pull from that pool, we'll have a pretty good amount of content for the
very good.
So you've got Mixed Sixth Sense coming up. We've got the date. We know who's going to be there. I presume it's going to be all over the Twitter sphere and TikTok and whatever people are using now.
Andrew's all over TikTok.
Yeah,
I'm TikToking everywhere. But we're talking about Intel chips, right?
Yeah, we are. Yeah. Get down with the kids, Andrew. I mean, not literally.
I was hoping you were going to go there. All right.
What about, is there any plans for 8KB Part 2, 8KB 2, 9KB?
9KB.
That joke may have been made.
I mean, you've got all the sessions submitted. It's and if it went really well, there's always a feeling, you should always try and repeat what you've done if it works well.
So our gut feeling, and I'm speaking for all three of us here, sorry lads, is yes, we are going to do it again. When that is to be decided. We did ask the attendees when they would like to see it again, and nobody picked annually. It was always more regular than that. It was split between twice a year or quarterly. Now I think
some people said monthly, which
some people did say monthly.
Bananas.
Really, why wouldn't monthly work? Right. So, all right. Let's put the cat with the pigeons.
The number one reason from my perspective is we ripped through the speaker pool too fast. Right. Yeah. We did get a lot of sessions. But if you're doing that monthly at the volume that we were doing it at, there's only so many high-end. Hopefully this doesn't come off sound pretentious, but there's only so many high-end sessions available. Period. Right. So,
I mean, it did sound pretentious.
They're hard to make too.
Yeah.
So that's the other part. So
I also think, from my perspective, is time. I have a full-time job. I do this in my free time. And I just don't have time to run an event every month. So,
and it would be very expensive.
Yeah. We would love to.
Yeah. Well, then you may need sponsorship to make up for that. Then I guess, but if you get enough, once you hit the was it 1,000 subscribers on YouTube? Is it 1,000? You can start putting ads on stuff.
Yeah, that's never going to happen. Ever.
Did you? I mean, that was
YouTube,
so unanimous.
Made YouTube just unwatchable for me, especially the ones in the middle of a video. Where you're sort of like, oh yeah, this is cool, and then, oh, okay, there's an advert about whatever on. Great. Yeah, no, if we get sponsors, great. Don't know who those will be or what or how we'll engage with them at the moment. It's completely up in the air. But yeah, there will never be an ad on our YouTube videos.
Well, it's a new world, isn't it? People, conferences have been around forever, and kind of what an advertising to a conference looks like. But when you're purely in an online media world, well, it's a little different.
I realise I've just made a massive statement for both Mark and
I know.
Yeah, you did, man.
We're on the same page. No worries. So
I pretty much thought we were all on the same page with that one.
God, yeah. Andrew, no.
Right.
All right.
Remember, he's the responsible one.
Do you know, he never seemed that responsible when I talked to him before. It's strange, isn't it?
Not. I'm the most responsible one out of us three.
Yeah.
That's the qualifier there.
All right. You guys were on before. And I think Andrew and Anthony got to answer an emergency question, and Mark didn't.
I did.
So, do you want to pick a number between 1 and 1,000?
Sure. 582.
Any reason?
Nope.
582. If this is safe for work. No, no. Go on, another number.
486.
486. All right.
Well played, Mark. Well played.
All right.
What was 486?
The old Intel processor.
Come on.
Oh, of course. You see, you're younger than me. I would have gone for 386.
No.
Have you ever fallen downstairs?
Funny story. I have fallen upstairs.
But do tell how someone can defy gravity.
I tripped. I don't remember what I tripped on, but I fell and actually tumbled semi up the stairs and then back down. And then I was laying at the bottom of the stairs, and my daughter comes kind of walking to the top of the stairs. She's like, "Dad, are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I think so." She's like, "Okay," and then she walks away and goes and eats breakfast. And then my son, my younger son at that time, he comes and he sees me like in a pile at the bottom of the stairs and decides that he should probably go get my wife and to make sure that I'm okay.
You were just a crumpled mess. But if you tell your child, "Yeah, no, I'm fine," is that a bit of bone? No, it's fine. Go on. Anthony, Andrew, have you ever fallen up or downstairs?
Not upstairs, no. Downstairs, yeah, constantly.
Sorry, constantly.
That's one of the reasons I now live in an apartment. No stairs. Great.
You live on the ground floor?
No, actually, no, that's a good point. No, I live on the second floor.
Sorry. Sorry,
once I'm in my flat, I'm safe.
Sorry, I didn't mean to debunk that.
Cupboard.
Yeah.
I was just going to say.
Waiting for that one.
Too easy,
You
bro.
always should.
So, what are you guys up to next? As in, I mean, obviously, you're going to taking a little bit break from 8KB. You're planning mixed extents. Are you going to be presenting at any conferences, releasing any videos? No one in particular. Hiding from a storm, maybe.
Right.
My calendar's fairly clear at the moment. I've got a few personal projects I'm working on that I'm just going to continue on until about August, I think, and then it all kicks back into gear and stuff is happening. And obviously, we'll have mixed extents in between there. Mark, what are you up to?
I've got 4 kids, so that's my calendar.
I think we meant professionally.
Oh. No, I don't really do much. Just work on little pet projects and stuff. It's funny, in my spare time, away from work, I don't typically touch database systems at all. I mostly do development stuff, like web development for the 8KB site, for example.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things I like most about 8KB is the design of the website. And that video you made for mixed extents as well is absolutely cracking.
Yeah, just to give Mark some compliments, like as the technical abilities, the solution that he built, and the style, like he really pulled that together. I mean, the site was being dynamically generated, pulling profiles from Session Eyes. Like it was really great to see that come together. And so big props to Mark on that one.
Thank you.
If we're lucky, will that work? No, that's me. No, that's you. That's a family show.
Don't mess with the tech during.
There we go. Oh, that's a wrong window. I'm quite glad that's here we say that's what appeared. Okay. So what were you saying on? So we've got YouTube. What's this new video on 8K on mixed extents?
I don't know if it's on YouTube. Is it?
Oh, okay.
Oh, it was on Twitter. Yeah, it was just a short little clip saying 8K presents mixed extents. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
A teaser, you could say.
Teaser. That's a good.
Yeah.
All right. I will look forward to seeing that. So people need to go to 8kb.conf
online,
8kb.online to see. Go to YouTube, and it's 8 with no space KB. It comes up. If you put a space in, it doesn't seem to like it.
So if you go to 8kb.online/streaming, that'll take you to the YouTube channel.
Oh, okay, all right. Should we do
Totally forgot I set that up.
That's your web wizardry right there, man.
Should we? I was going to just talk to you about 8KB, but should we? I've got a couple of other questions. If you've got some time, or
I do. Someone is hammering on my door. I will be back in a second.
All right, go check that out.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
This happens like daily on calls with Andrew. He's always got somebody pounding on his door. One time we were in a team meeting, and he had to leave the team meeting because there was a bomb scare on his street and the police were evacuating his building.
Maybe he's just telling you this, and he
I
wants
think
to
it
go
is.
get away.
I think it is. He's going to have a beer in the other room, and then he comes back.
Right.
that's
Yeah.
why.
I keep looking out the window because it's literally like raining cats and dogs, whatever metaphor you want to use. And so it's pretty intense. So if I go dark, that's what my internet cut out.
You say you've got 10 minutes of battery if it goes pear-shaped.
Yeah, that's enough for me to enable my DR plan, which is me tethering to my phone.
Right, okay. But other people in the house will have power and stuff for 10 minutes. You're not just going to use it for this. You can just go.
Right.
I mean, just dump us, right? We are not important. Because I had some new questions for season 2, and since you're a season 2 guest, should we get in with the deep questions?
Go for it.
Let's do it.
Are you sure? All right.
Never.
What makes you so special? But in a good way. No, it's not.
Wait,
it's not
I thought that was that not rhetorical? That's the actual question.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Is that not a good question?
Questions.
I mean, what makes me special? I'm really good at Googling things. I can really find answers really quickly with a search engine.
All right.
I'm really good at insulting people, but making them feel good about it.
I'm going to go back and read. I'm going to go back and read our Slack channel now.
Right. So, one of the questions that amuse me is I recently replaced the screen on an iPhone and the battery on 2 different iPhones, and it worked. So, when was the last time you amazed yourself with your own brilliance?
Actually, when setting something up for this conference.
Okay. So which bit
there's
was that?
There's sessionized API limits. So I created a Lambda function in AWS that downloads the sessionized data and stuffs it into a file that the website reads, so that I don't go over the API limits. I'd never touched Lambda before, and I even had to write a bunch of stuff in JavaScript, which is a nonsense language, as everyone knows.
It's a really good OO scripting language. Don't get me started. When you've got JavaScript and VB script, you're going JavaScript, aren't you?
Well, that's like, when you're going to get poked in the eye or punched in the stomach, which do you take, right?
Clearly the gut punch. Andrew, do you want to? I mean, Andrew looks just confused, but never mind.
This is my default face. I remember one of the speakers. I was in Norway, and one of the speakers came up to me as I was waiting to do my session. And said, "Is your default expression terrified or what?" And I thought, "Yeah, that's pretty much where I'm going here." About an hour before a session when I'm speaking, you can't talk to me. I'm a pacer, and I'll just no matter how many sessions I do or how big the sessions are. I've been speaking in America, or speaking all over Europe, but that hour before I speak just kills me every single time. Just go pacing. And with virtual conferences now, I'm just walking around my block. My neighbors think I'm nuts. It's like he's circling our house, and now he's chatting to himself in his living room. All right, cool.
So,
for the record, I've seen Andrew present live, and he's literally one of the best speakers I've ever seen. And so, he still gets nervous.
Go on, Anthony. When were you last amazed by your own brilliance?
I'm going to redirect that question in this. The thing I no. I think you'll appreciate it because I've spent so much time recently teaching, right, rather than doing. And that's fine. That's what I've chosen to do lately. I'm getting the most satisfaction out of people. Hey, that thing that you did really helped me out, like in helping enable people. And then that's when I feel like that I've really been able to impact other people's lives. And that's what I think, like, from a brilliant standpoint, I think that I'm most happy about is being able to touch people and help them learn and develop. And that's like, yeah, that's when I get pumped about that feeling, you know?
Yeah. I mean, it is a ridiculous question. Please don't get me wrong. It isn't supposed to catch you out. It is. it is supposed to make me look stupid than anyone else.
And not to bring this back to 8KB. But...
Oh, sorry. You
I know, right?
Stop interrupting.
So,
It's like we've got an agenda or something.
No, that was one of the cool things about the attendee feedback from 8KB is people saying how much they've wanted content like that and how much they learned and talking about how they're going to go back and rewatch stuff to try to understand things better. That was really satisfying.
Yeah, that was really good.
So it's going to be quite hard with three of you, but are you happy?
What was that?
Are you happy?
In general or just with the conference?
No, in general, with your lives.
Well, I'll wrestle this one first. I think that given lockdowns and quarantines and all that stuff, and I think we touched on this topic a little bit the last time we were on. Yeah, I think considering all of those elements, like me and my family we're pretty healthy, and I think our relationship, especially the three of us, let's bring it back to 8KB, it's been nice for all of us to have our three of us to kind of work around. That's not just work, right? Yeah, it's work to do, but it's not our job. And that having that outlet for us, even though we're all locked in our houses, we'll have a beer together after a planning session or something like that, has, I think, contribute to my overall mental health. And so hopefully you guys have had a similar experience.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I totally agree with that. I mean, I've got a big family, so a lockdown doesn't really feel lonely because there's so many of us in the house. But it is nice having people. So I do work with Andrew, but outside of work, that are also not my family that I can kind of just talk with and, like you said, have a beer after a planning meeting or whatever. It's been really nice. And overall, yes, I'm happy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can be happy right now, and you can be unhappy right now, but you can be generally happy with your life. I mean, it's just, I ask the question just because I'm incredibly miserable. That's all. And so I want to try and suck the happiness out of other people. That's the reason why I ask. So what about you, Andrew? So the reason why I have this question in and question at the end is normally we have different questions because we're not focusing on 8KB, the conference that people need to go to YouTube right now and watch. So is that all right? Is it kind of we dig into them and their personality and it was just kind of a sort of a question at the end after we talked about all sorts of other stuff and people sort of open up a bit more. But it's a bit harder when we're just talking about 8KB. Go to 8kb.online and watch it now.
Slash streaming.
Yes. Slash streaming. Sorry, Andrew, you're looking confused. So I was just getting all those hints that we weren't going back to 8KB enough. So I'll go.
You've got to ask again. He's defaulted to as confused.
Oh, he has. Are you happy, Andrew?
What?
Am I happy? Yes. No, I'm happy. I mean, yes, of course, it's been tough over the last few months. Things haven't been great, but I've got a good circle of friends here, and so I've been able to lean on them. I've kept myself busy. My work has been, I haven't had any issues with, people have been made redundant. I haven't had that issue. My job's been stable, and I've been able to focus on a couple of personal projects that I've managed to get completed. Another one coming up, and then put on conferences like this. So I've kept myself busy. At one point, I went 2.5 months without having a burrito, and I thought I'd lose my mind. But They've literally built a burrito shop down the road from me now. So things are looking on the up.
Is there I'm going to ask a question now. Is there a particular accomplishment that you might have had completed during this time that you were stuck at home?
No, I'm quite pleased. I've been traveling around, spoken in America about it, traveled around Europe about it, spoken bits about it. So I've been talking about Kubernetes for a while now. So I thought I'd try my hand at the Certified Kubernetes Administrator exam, which Mark kind of pushed me into as a sort of, do you want to continue working for your company? Pass this exam or I'll boot you out.
Harsh but fair.
That's how I remember the conversation in my head anyway. So no, I tried the exam and very, very pleased that I managed to pass it. So yeah, pretty chuffed with myself.
Cool.
Because it's not an area of, it's one of those exams of, it's one of those areas of, your little bit, but if you go and there's a whole wider area of that subject out there. So I was very nervous going into it, but no, I was very, very pleased with myself, definitely.
Well done. We should all give him a little round of applause, shouldn't we? I feel that kind of as a bit of.
If you're on Twitter, tweet little clappy hands at DBA from the cold.
We've got a few people. See, this doesn't. All right, so if you ever get into the streaming, don't you? I mean, Restream just doesn't. Restream.io. I mean, it's a great product, but I just don't get the chat messages and the feedback coming back into it. So people could be sending us messages online now, and I'm not looking at Facebook, Twitter, YouTube for comments. But we can pick those up afterwards. Well, gentlemen, I'm going to I wasn't going to say love you and leave you. I mean, I was going to say it, and then I was thinking that just sounds really wrong, doesn't it? I mean,
you okay there, Mark? Take a deep breath. It's okay.
I don't know. No. I mean, right. I mean, it's taken like this is like almost the 38th session for someone to ask me if I'm okay. So,
really?
Well, Andrew, I mean, now that you ask.
Wow, look at that. Yeah.
Sorry, is there a thunderstorm coming over the entire world?
Right.
I think I'll say goodnight to you all and let you get back to your lovely families or burritos or running away from the storm. Thank you for coming on and spending some more time with me. Good luck with Mixed Extents and the next 8KB. And we'll catch up online or somewhere random in the future.
Thank you very much.
All right, Mark. Well, good night. Remember, this is a showbiz goodbye. You don't have to drop off. All right. All right, bye everyone on the stream. Bye.
Bye.